Well, it's a good morning from him, and it's a good morning from me. Welcome, everybody, to our mortgage live stream, our lunchtime live stream. It's just literally midday here in Cheltenham. So what we're going to do is going to go online straight away. I'm Paul Archer, but you know that, so there's no need for me to introduce myself. Hope you're really well. Hope you're good. It's end of November now. So we've got Christmas literally in about, 4 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time? It's not very long, is it? So everybody's getting themselves prepared for Christmas and all those lovely things. Now, in the broker world, in the mortgage world, it is beginning to slow down, always does around sort of December time anyway. And many mortgage advisors, mortgage brokers take the opportunity to take stock and look at the goals for next year. And you'll be wanting to do that as well. And I hope, by the way, you'll join me next Saturday or this Saturday for my Protection Opportunities Special, a live webinar for you at 10 o'clock on Saturday. But I'm going to talk to you about that at the end of this session. So hope you're all right. Those you're watching the video, I've got my new Madonna microphone today. You probably noticed this one, the Madonna microphone. I think it was named after Madonna, who popularised it. I don't think it's called a Madonna one. It's a Sennheiser thing. So it just gives a better sound, really, when we're doing our recording. Anyway, I've got a couple of ideas for you today, which are going to help you in your mortgage business. That's really the idea behind it. So you're thinking about next year, 2023, planning, etc. And I want to give you a couple of ideas to help you to look at those goals for next year pragmatically as well. So that's really where we're going. So the first one for you is to take a look at how you prospect. And then we're going to take a look at the basics, getting the basics right. Because when we're in a bit of an economic downturn, when people are starting to cut back a bit, you've got to go back to basics sometimes. The England rugby team, for example, on Saturday, who got beaten by South Africa, if anybody watched the match. Anyway, I'm not going to go there with that one. We got well beaten. But the point is, though, that perhaps we just need to go back to basics. And I'll talk about that with that metaphor for you later as well. So let's get cracking with prospecting, online prospecting, and getting some new business for next year, because you've got to work hard at that next year, because that phone ain't going to start ringing as much as it has done this year. So let me just pop over to some slides and things. We'll head over to the green screen today to give you some insights into that. So let's just hit this button. We're going to go to some slides for you. And the topic really is social selling in a nutshell is what I want to talk to you about. So let me just jump on in and say hi. Let's pop in and say hello to you here. So social selling in a nutshell. Now, what is the phrase social selling? You've probably heard of it before, and you may not think it's something that mortgage brokers or mortgage advisors do, but you're very wrong. We do. We should do too. The whole point behind social selling, which probably the name isn't right. You probably think about Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and spending hours and hours and hours online doing social media. That's not social selling at all in any shape or form. What social selling is, quite simply, is finding customers, finding new business, new customers, new prospects, call them what you like. But finding them, schmoozing them, if you like, and then inviting them onto your sales process. That, my friends, is all it is to it, really. Now, we need to find people online because they're online. That's where customers are nowadays. New customers, new clients, they're online. That's where people are. So you need to find out where they're hanging out, and you need to connect with them online and then bring them offline into the real world and begin the sales process. So that's how it works. So what I've got for you now is a blueprint to help you with your social selling, because I want you to think about this for next year. If you're not doing much of this, I really want you to think about doing more and more of this for next year. So here's my blueprint for you. It's taken from the book, Mortgage Advising New Rules, and this is the blueprint itself. I'm going to break this down for you and give you a bit more of an idea of how this works, because you probably can't read that. For those of you on the podcast, you can't read anyway, can you? You can only hear me talk. So as you can see here, I've got 6 steps to social selling for mortgage advisors. So the first thing we want to do, let's zoom in here so you can see that. Let's move across here so you can see that better. The first thing that we need to do here is to find prospective potential customers online. We've got to go and find them. Where are they hanging out? Where are your customers hanging out? It does depend, of course, who your customers are and whether you've done some proper segmentation of your customer client base, or the customers that you do really good business with, who you want to target. This is what we're doing here, by the way. Oh, and by the way, if anyone phones you and wants the mortgage dealt with, just deal with them. Don't worry about it. This is marketing. This is how you prospect for new business. And as you can see from my list there, I've got all sorts of places where you can go to find people. I've got LinkedIn at the top there, Facebook advertising, which I know Facebook are in the press at the moment, but they're still very good for small, medium-sized enterprises, SMEs. So you are mortgage brokers, SMEs. Google Ads, quite expensive, but you can do it. Google My Business is free, so you can get your own business online with Google. Set it up. They love you to do it because obviously it helps people to find you. You can put reviews on there and all sorts of things. It's a really good channel to have. Google My Business is free. YouTube, of course, you'd be wanting to put all your videos on YouTube. That'd be a place where you might find people. Review sites and use some podcasts, which you might be able to find people, which you can put out on Spotify and things like that, but people find you that way. Articles on other people's sites and your own website as well. And the whole point is you find people in these places. They're on there. You connect with them. You talk to them. You could add Facebook to that. You could add Instagram if you want to go there. But these are places where you find people and you connect with them. Once you've found them in your ideal social place, if you like, what we then need to do, number 2 here, let's move out of the way so you can see that, is to connect and engage with people online. So once people have connected with you, maybe on LinkedIn, although you probably don't have a lot of customers on LinkedIn, maybe on Facebook, Instagram, whatever is your social media of choice, YouTube, your website, you want to engage with them online, particularly if they are very new to you. You want to warm them up and engage with them online. But very quickly, you'll want to get to the stage of reaching out to people offline. I've got some examples there of how you would do that. Now, a lot of people get this wrong. I've worked with a lot of people who have come into the mortgage market and they say, yeah, it's all online, man. You know, I never need to talk to people. It's all just online apps, video, everything. But essentially, this is still a people business. People will want to trust you and deal with you and like you to a certain degree. They have to like you, but it makes it nicer if they do. Therefore, you do need to reach out to people and connect with them. So you do need to get offline at some point to make the appointment, if you like, for them to come and see you or talk to you on the phone or deal with you via video. So you've got to get on the phone or use a messaging app or use email, of course, which are just ways of connecting with people. So once you've found them, you've warmed them up online, you've then got to contact them in order to put them onto your sales process. Your sales process probably starts with a 15-minute discovery call. We've talked about that before. It should do anyway, particularly if you're charging fees, which you should do because you're professional. Therefore, you do need to make that call, message them or email them. Phoning people is hard, I agree, particularly if you've never spoken to them before, but you have, remember, contacted them and connected with them online as well. Now, of course, you can phone and email people that you bought leads, referrals, because what we need to think about, of course, is bringing in all the other old school ways of prospecting as well. From the blueprint there, once we've connected with them, you need to add them to the CRM system and continue to reach out to them. If they've said no to a 15-minute discovery call, they might ask you to call them again next January or February. Then you put them on your CRM system. Again, we've talked about that before. You do need a CRM. That's where you keep all of your customer details, that clients, customers, a customer is a customer until they pay you a fee and then they're a client. You need to keep that details. Even if your network and your principal has their own software system, which most have, because they do, because it's all about submitting cases, you need your own CRM. These are your clients. You've spent time finding them. They belong to you. So have a CRM in your own name, somewhere back at base where you keep connecting with these people. And you'll use that CRM to reach out to them in 6 months' time, 12 months' time, 2 years' time. Regardless of all the compliance aspects, you do need that CRM. Now, you will need to join in all the old school ways of prospecting. Now, we call it old school. It's a little bit derogatory, I think. Old school is a collective term for all the, I guess, non-internet based ways of prospecting that many advisors use and use well. And there's some really good ones. I mean, personal referrals is where it's at. You should be getting 50% of your new business from referrals. Even if they're business connection referrals, accountants, estate agents, lawyers, that sort of thing. You should be getting a lot of referrals. If you're not, you need to set yourself a goal next year for that one. You might buy online leads. Many advisors do. It's it's Marmite. You either love them or hate them, don't you? A lot of people work really well with those. Inbound inquiries from your website, wedding fairs, leaflet drops, merch. That's merchandise, by the way, a little shortage for you. These are all old-fashioned, old-school ways of getting new customers. It doesn't matter as long as you get them. Put them on the CRM, reach out to them, make an appointment, and as you can see here, the first stage of the advisor sales process. What you do is you reach out to them and you sell them the 15-minute discovery call. Not you don't sell them advice or sell them a product or sourcing or best advice or the best rate I can get you. You sell them a 15-minute discovery call. And that's the process. It's quite a nice process, actually. That's the blueprint for social selling. It's not that complicated. And if you haven't done much of that, you need to start thinking about it. Be careful you don't waste a lot of time online reaching out to people. You've got to be careful of that. If you just flick back to the first one there where we had all the different ways of finding potential customers online. You could waste a lot of time doing all this. For example, YouTube channel, you could be producing a lot of videos. Be careful how many of those you record and put onto your YouTube channel and put them onto your Facebook and your Instagram, your TikToks and your LinkedIns as well. But if that's the way you want to market, fine. Google My Business is certainly one to do as well. Google Ads cost money. Facebook ads cost money. LinkedIn. I've seen mortgage brokers on LinkedIn trying to promote as though they will find customers on LinkedIn. You probably won't. LinkedIn is B2B. You'll find a lot of BDMs on there, but you won't find many clients. Okay, they may be on there in their business context, but they won't be looking for a mortgage broker on LinkedIn. It's not where people go to find a mortgage advisor. It's usually from friends and relations and referrals. That's how people find you. But if they go online, start Googling, if you crop up on these various sites, then they will find you, connect with you, and then you can reach out to them and get them connected to your 15-minute discovery call. So that's social selling, really. Just a quick overview for you. Again, another chapter in the book on that if you want to find out a bit more about it. It's all about setting your goals for next year, isn't it? But you've got to prospect a bit more. Because that phone ain't going to ring next year. You've had a lot of new business coming your way, a lot of people desperate for advice. You've got to start prospecting hard. And when you do start prospecting, of course, you've then got to tighten up your own sales process. And you'll be prospecting and selling different meetings, mortgage MOTs and all sorts of different things rather than just getting a new home bought. Hope that's been useful for you. What I'd like to do now is to give you a couple more ideas to help you in your business. By the way, I hope you're well. Hope you're all good. All good here in Tivoli Studios. We're getting ourselves ready for the end of the year, Christmas and all those good things. Got our webinar coming up on Saturday. I want to talk to you about that in a moment. But anyway, let's get into the basics. Now, I watched the rugby on Saturday, as many of you probably did. I'm a big rugby fan, as you know. And when I was watching England play, I thought, hold on, we're trying to get a bit too complicated, a bit too fancy. Sometimes when the chips are down, we do just need to go back to basics. So you probably heard me talk about the story before, but I used to run a small rugby team. I was just one of the dads doing the coaching. And my son Ewan, when he was about 7 or 8, he would be playing rugby with his mates. And as a dad, I would help to coach them. And the whole point was that we were just dads helping these kids to play rugby. And we were doing the best we could. We weren't coaches. We started to lose a lot of matches. And when the kids are like 7 or 8 years of age, tag rugby this is, when they get beaten, it's not nice. You just have to work with it. So we decided as dads to get some proper coaching. So we went to the RFU, the Rugby Football Union of England, and they gave us some coaching techniques on how to teach kids mini rugby. We've never had any of this training before. And what the coach did, or what the trainer did, is he said, look, you've got to get back to basics, he said. He said, rugby, however the age of the child or the man, is a simple game. And you need to think about the 5 basics of playing rugby. And I'm just going to quickly tell you what these are, because I want to relate it to the mortgage world, because that's the key thing here, isn't it? The mortgage world. So let's just head over to some slides for you, because I want to talk about the basics, if you like. Are you getting the basics right? Let's just pop on in and say hello to you as well. Are you getting the basics right? Now in rugby, I don't know if you're interested, but there are a number of basics. Here we've got some kids playing, and this one's about catching the ball at speed. So if you can run and catch a ball when you're running, that's a basic skill that you need to teach them. The second one is some kids, again, having a great time, aren't they? Running as a team. You've got to be able to run along a line in a team and pass to each other. That's the thing, isn't it? You've also got to be good at passing the ball at speed. Now, these are just the basics of rugby. That's all they are. Running at speed, passing the ball at speed. And the fourth one, if you like, this one here for you, is tackling safely. So there's a kid there tackling this other kid safely, which is great. And the last one, as you can see here from my picture, is scrumming and rucking. These are the 5 basics of rugby. And the RFU taught us this, and that's all we started to do. We went back, we just taught those kids those 5 key skills: catching, running, which is not a difficult thing, passing, tackling, and rucking. And once we got those nailed, we trained them every week on them, and they started to win matches. It was brilliant to see them. Kids were really happy. Now, in mortgage advice, mortgage broking, there are actually only 5 core skills, and you've got to get these right. If you haven't got them right, then that's where your CPD needs to be for next year. That's where your development is required for next year. So what are these 5 then? And the first one is prospecting for new business. If you've started up your own business and you just put a phone in and it starts to ring, you just get lots and lots of inbound inquiries, and you've been very busy because of that, that's great. But that's not happening now. The market's changed, and for the next 6 months or so, that phone ain't going to be ringing. So you've got to start to prospect, as we talked about before. That's a core skill. If you're not good at that, and you should be spending a day a week on that, then you need to learn how to do it next year pretty quickly. The second one is influencing and encouraging clients to make decisions. I'm not talking about closing skills, you can call it that if you want to. I'm talking about influencing skills, encouraging skills to help the client to make decisions. That's core skill number 2. Because if they ain't going to make a decision and go with you with whatever you're recommending, you're not going to be putting meat on the table. That's, of course, an issue for vegetarian. You won't be putting meat on the table. Number 3, exploring client needs. You've got to be good at that. We call it fact finding, asking questions, whatever it is, but that's the 3rd key skill. The 4th one is sourcing and determining the right solution. That's the hard work, that one. You might have technology to do that for you. All of us have got good sourcing engines that we use, but sometimes if you're in the complex mortgage world, you might have to make some phone calls, talk to some underwriters, get a few favours back, that sort of thing, if you're in the complex area. But sourcing and determining the right solution, that includes protection as well. And the last one is keeping customers warm after the first sale so they return. This is the first mortgage you did for them last year, for example. You've now got to be thinking about a mortgage MOT or a protection MOT for those customers. Think about that. Ongoing advice. So many lenders now, by the way, are contacting their clients direct, encouraging them to fix with them again or remortgage with them again direct. All doing it. You know that. Don't put your head in the sand. They won't do it. They love us brokers. They do love brokers, but only when they need you. They have shareholders who want profits. That's who they report to, not mortgage brokers. Believe me, they will dual price as much as anybody else quickly had done before. So you've got to keep your customers warm. You've got to be contacting them. You've got to be bringing them back for a review, an MOT. So that's the 5th skill. So the first one is prospecting. Then it's helping people to make decisions. So being a bit influential. Exploring, of course, fact finding. Sourcing the right solution is a skill area, and then keeping people warm after the first sale so they come back for further business. Be careful of that one. The lenders are using their apps now and their websites just to fix people. They've got cheaper deals. They're on for refixing directly with lenders. So make sure they're your customer, they're your client. Make sure they remain that way as well. So that's the basics. And of course, with the rugby scene, we had a great time with those kids and we carried on just training the basics. And sometimes we have to think about not being so fancy. I hope you found that useful. Bye. All righty, everybody. I mentioned that I would quickly talk to you about this Saturday's webinar. We've got 100 spaces. I think we're up to about 91, 92 people, but we will probably live stream it over to YouTube. So you can probably watch it on YouTube anyway. Now, what's the webinar? Well, it's 45 minutes on protection opportunities. And I call this my protection opportunity webinar. Couldn't think of a better phrase or name for it. But it's about selling protection, but it's the opportunities available to you. It's helping you to think about how you can get some new business, and then when you get that new business, what you can do to get some more protection. And we've got a number of key objectives for you for the session. The first one is I'm going to give you an ideal sales process for mortgages that seamlessly allows you to advise protection during the mortgage fact find. Most of you do this anyway, some of you haven't, but I want to make sure that your sales process is fit for purpose for next year. Number two, I want to help you sell income protection before the mortgage even completes. Income protection is a funny old one, really. We sell life and kit quite happily with mortgages. We don't tend to sell it with income protection. So I want to share with you a case study of a broker I've been working with who sells income protection before the mortgage even starts. So that's something you might want to pick up some ideas there for you. How to fix a mortgage MOT. So you chat about protection. So we talked about that early on, didn't we? So I'll give you some skills around that one as well. How to appeal to people's emotions about minding the gap. We call it mind the gap. If you've been on the tube in London, you get off, would you please mind the gap, ladies and gentlemen? That's an Australian accent coming out there. Actually, it's usually an East End accent. Mind the gap, mate. You know, you've got to be careful of the gap. It's about protecting that gap. So we're going to talk about how you can appeal to people's emotions. So that's a nice little way of helping out. Number five, what to do if the client goes online themselves. So we're going to talk about objection handling. Not the usual objection handling. You get loads of ideas from lenders and providers on that, insurance companies. But I want to talk to you about preempting objections, how you can stop those objections from even happening in the first place. We call them preempting the objections, particularly this one, because that's a key one. That people will go online and try and get cheaper, because everybody wants things cheaper now, don't they? So that's number five. Number six for you is what type of protection might suit your business clients. I think that's a key one for you. So are you selling the right products to people? I'm talking about your owner direct to business clients who have their own limited company. I think that's key as well. And some tips and apps available from providers that will help you save some time. So that's what's coming up for you on our protection webinar, which I'm looking forward to. It's on Saturday. You just have to get on our mailing list and we email you with details so that you can get yourself on there. And you get a recording as well if you've registered. But let me know and I'll get you on there. It's all good. That's 10 o'clock on Saturday. That's all coming up, all good enough. Great. So let's just wrap things up, shall we? Finish things off from our live stream today. So nothing technical today, but sometimes we overdo the technical side, don't we, on these live streams? This is some updates on you running your business as a mortgage advisor, mortgage broker. Particularly like that social selling side of things. Get your prospecting goals set for next year is the key, isn't it? Hope you've got a good week ahead of you. We've got a pretty good week. Got a lot of stuff going on down in the studios. And I'm out and about next week. I've got a 2-day program over with a major bank next week, doing some train the trainer, doing some training of their trainers. I'm looking forward to delivering that next week in a classroom. Can you imagine that? It's crazy. It's a crazy idea, isn't it? Anyway, enough of that. Hope you have a great week. I'm Paul Archer, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.